It's already 7 o'clock, so let's go ahead and start the show. Guys, welcome back to another Monday Night Live with me and Danny, aka That One Camera Guy. Again, we really appreciate for those of you who are always tuning in every week just to watch us talk, ramble, and ooze out on some new gear. So as you guys know, we like to start the show with talking about new gear. So let us know in the chat what new piece of gear that you got, and we're going to continue the trend from last week. Use hashtag new gear to let us know, and we'll read your new gear out loud. Danny, what new piece of tech did you get this week or last week?
All right, so as far as what I recently got, I actually picked this up on, was it Friday? I've been talking about before, my internet speeds aren't really good, and so I switched over to Verizon recently. T-Mobile was good in certain cases, but Verizon just happens to work better in the area that I live in. And so when I switched over, I decided to go ahead and pick up the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus.
Wow.
I had the LG G4 prior, and I said, you know what? It's been a couple years since I had a new phone, so I just went ahead and jumped to the S8 Plus. Love the screen. I can see it in the daytime. I use this to shoot most of my vlog for the May 13th vlog at the swim meet. And the quality is really good. I already ordered I have a gimbal on order from June, and we'll definitely try it out with it. But in terms of just like general video at 4K, it looks really clean. Honestly, when there's plenty of light, the video quality looks really crisp. And so I'm going to definitely be using this a lot for just getting some of the video done, some of the B-roll done, and also, yeah, it just makes my life easier just messaging back people and communicating with them. So we'll do.
So would you say the audio on the S8 Plus good, or do you think you might need like a Rode lavalier microphone for your headphone jack on your phone?
If like when I was in a very quiet location, it sounded very clear. Mm-hmm. But when there was external sound coming from all these other areas, then it was noisy. So I was looking at the Rode VideoMic Pro, or the little Rode Mini or Rode Me.
Yeah.
And then I have like a lavalier that connects to the phone, so I'm going to go and test it out too. So that's what I'm looking at.
Cool.
Yep. But
so we all
really
want to know. We all want to know, how's the autofocus performance?
It's crazy, like the autofocus points on this thing that just kind of pop up on the screen when you're going to take a photo with it. The video is good with the selfie mode, obviously, when you're recording yourself. I got to test out the rear camera, because I recorded video today using the rear camera facing me and had trouble keeping track of me. So I don't know, it's because I needed to actually tap my face on the actual camera. But it has a lot of potential. I'm really liking it, and definitely will be taking advantage of it. So
is the front-facing camera also in 4K?
It's quad HD, so it's 2560 by some other number, I think. Okay. So
it's cool. Yeah. Good stuff. So
and then,
okay, go ahead.
Just really quick too. I'm not going to spoil it yet, but I think I'm going to be testing out some equipment from the dark side. From the dark side. So we shall see in a few days. If you're on my Instagram at That One Camera Guy, if you shameless plug here, I'll post an image of when the actual products come in. But I am going to be testing some gear from the dark side, and I will be comparing it to Sony. So, yeah, real teaser there.
Wow! Way to vague tubing. Hashtag vague tubing. Dang it, Danny. Yeah. Here is the link to Danny's channel for anybody who wants to subscribe. Who hasn't subscribed yet? I don't know why. I don't know what you guys are doing. Haven't subscribed to Danny yet. I'm just kidding. Danny's channel. Guys, if you guys are on the chat right now, I could really appreciate it if you guys could give this video a thumbs up and give us some little promotion, little boost, so we'll hit up some new viewers. So in terms of new gear, I just picked it up literally 6 hours ago. It is the WD My Passport Wireless Pro. Let me just cover up the wireless password. So this thing is pretty cool. I was watching Philip Bloom's video on this, and I got this because tomorrow I'll be shooting a wedding, and I won't be able to meet up with my second shooter at the beginning of the day. So I won't be able to give him my SD cards to shoot on. So he'll have to be shooting on his SD cards maybe for like the first couple of hours, and then we'll meet up, and then I'll give him my SD cards. But so we're thinking by the end of the day, he'll just transfer whatever he shot at the beginning of the day to my laptop. But I don't want to be bringing this 15-inch laptop around. So I decided to get this thing. What this thing does is you can insert an SD card right here, and it'll automatically transfer all the stuff into this hard drive. And I just take it home and unload it to my actual laptop or computer. And what's cool is it is wireless, so you can actually have a phone connect to this thing, and you get to see what type of files are in here. And I think if you set up a Plex server, which is this Netflix looking thing, you can access and watch the video files from the hard drive. So this thing is pretty cool. I'll let you guys know how this will work out for me after tomorrow's event.
Yeah, it looks pretty good, man. So it's a physical disk, right? Like an actual hard disk in there.
I think so. I think it uses a hard drive, not like a solid state or anything like that. I'm actually not too quite sure, but it is kind of big. It's like the size of my face, but it's better than bringing a 15-inch laptop.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and jump into the chat. How do you do it, Danny? You just control find?
Yeah, press Control F and then do hashtag new gear. Again, we are on the new gear section right now of the live stream, and we'll be getting to the meat of the topic for this live stream in just a little bit here. So
cool. Simon PR, hashtag new gear, Vedra 19mm A6500. Have you heard of the brand Vedra?
Shoot. I've heard of the name, but I just can't recollect on what. I'm assuming it's a manual, like I'm looking at it right now. It's a cinema lens, effectively.
Oh, that's something that I need to look into. It's a 19mm.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, don't know much about it, Simon, unfortunately, but that's pretty cool.
Give us some deets. Give us a deet. What's up with the Vedra 19mm? JW Studios Peak Design camera clip. Awesome, man. I hope you got it from my video, my Peak Design video. Let's see here. Steve, new hashtag new gear, €100 deposit down on the sound devices. Mix Pre 6, €100 deposit down, a small HD focus. Sennheiser MKE 600, Roll Blip V2, Rode new shooter kit to make the MKE 600 wireless. Steve.
Oh, wow.
What are you doing here, man? You're just spreading gas everywhere, man. Just buying so much stuff.
Yeah, what are you up to, Steve? What are you gonna start doing, like news related type topics there? Type work, Steve?
Let us know, what are you doing with that new gear? Did you get the Mix Pre 6 amp? That's a recommendation from TLD today, right? I remember watching his video on it from Jonathan Morrison.
I mean, I've used like the Rode I got like one of the mics here, and then they usually
just like whip that out of nowhere.
And there's like the attachment that goes underneath it to make it wireless and everything. But
wait, what are you using?
I like it. When the students were like doing use kind of stuff.
Oh,
like,
nice. So you guys actually have like a little news channel or something, like you guys do?
Really small. I mean, we're gonna try to like get it going again next year. So
right. That's cool, man. Rayhan says, got a Sigma 30mm 1.4 recently. So far, so good. I think a lot of people are getting the Sigma 1.4, Danny.
Man, I'm guessing it's the E-mount version, right? Obviously, it's the E-mount model. Well, it's good. I'm glad it's working out. Simon
PR, new gear, in-case DSLR Pro bag. Nice. And there's Danny shamelessly plugging himself in his Instagram. Let's see here. Hashtag new gear, newer 18-inch ring light for interviews. Set Sonic palette. Dope stuff. Chris Cheek says he pre-ordered the Focus Small HD. Yeah, dude, a lot of people are pre-ordering that monitor.
I'm very tempted, but I think but we'll wait for some more reviews. It's really nice.
Very cool. Let's see here. Right, yeah. Oh, did I miss anything? Okay, and JW Studio says 50mm 1.8 Canon. Hashtag new gear.
Nice.
Interesting stuff. Awesome, guys. I think that's it for new gear. Thank you guys for sharing. Let's go ahead and move on to shooting experiences. So we're trying out something a little bit different on our live show, where we're not only just presenting news from the Sony world, but we also wanted to share with you guys some of the stuff that we've learned while we were at events shooting, whether it be mistakes that we have made or very interesting things about the camera we learned, lenses, etc. So we want to share with you guys. Hopefully you guys can learn something from us, from our shooting experience. So Danny, why don't you go ahead and go first?
So as far as the stuff that I've just been doing recently, as you know, for some of you that do follow my channel, I've been doing a couple of vlogs as of late. I haven't done an actual vlog on this, but I started using the A7 Mark II. Now I've had the A7 Mark II for a few months now, and I haven't really tested it out like officially. But the A7R2, really good. Autofocus is decent, and really happy with the A7R2. But when it comes to the A7 II, I was shooting some softball with it. The autofocus just didn't cut it, Jason. It was the A7 II was struggling.
A7 II was struggling for the softball game?
A7 II was not quite there. And you know what's really odd? I didn't know this, but the A7 II doesn't have a way for video. The A7 II doesn't have a way to modify the autofocus speed and the focus, like the drive speed and the focus speed.
Okay.
Like the focus
and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, there's no, I could be completely wrong, or I just missed it, but there just isn't an option. So I couldn't fine tune the A7 Mark II's like focusing ability in video. And it just, for sports wise, when I was trying to keep up with like subjects moving, it just didn't do a really good job. Like I wouldn't do it. But AF is okay, but definitely it might not be the first camera I just grab if I was going to shoot something like sports. That's just my initial impression when I had shot with it for softball. So that's something there. But yeah.
Cool. So you would say you wouldn't use the A7 II for like, which really makes sense, because the faster autofocusing didn't come until like the A7R2 and the A6500.
Yeah, they have a much, well, the A6300, well, the A6000 was good already, right? I mean, when using the A6000, autofocus very good, lock on AF's good. It's just the A7 II is just kind of a little slower, a little sluggish. But I just use it in the scenarios that I normally would, shooting some type of sporting event. And like I said, it's just initial impressions. I don't know if people in the comment section might want to mention something about that. I guess we can do a hashtag. I don't know, hashtag
A7 II.
There you go, A7 II. So maybe you've had experience with the autofocusing on that camera, but so far that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. So I had to test it out more, but that's currently the vibe that I'm getting with that camera.
When trusted in a sports environment. That's why there's the A9.
It's getting close. It's getting close.
Did you want to talk about the swim meet as well with the A7R2?
What's that?
Did you want to talk about the A7R2 at your swim event as well?
Yeah, just really quickly point out the A7R2 with the swim meet stuff. I thought it was good. Again, I would kind of just gear more towards the A6000 series if you just wanted something a lot more consistent and worked a lot better. Again, you could just always time your shots with that type of stuff, but that's the way I approached it. So
sporting wise, A6000, A6500 would be better.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the de facto answer. But if you already have an A7R2, you could still do it. You could still definitely shoot sports with it. Just time your stuff. So
cool. Awesome. So as for me, shooting experience wise, you guys know I picked up the Sony RX105, and I've been shooting with this for like the past couple of videos. You guys watched it, the peak design video, the small rig video. I shot a lot of B-roll with this camera, and honestly, it's pretty hard to tell the quality difference. I mean, like if I look really closely to the footage of the RX100, yes, I can tell it's from the RX100. But for the most part, I was able to blend it with my video pretty darn well. And I think combine this with the Crane M, it's like a match made in heaven. This is a perfect combo right here. I can let me just quickly slap this on and show you guys. Crane M. So having the quick release plate helps a lot too. Oh man, I'm struggling on the live show, Danny.
Oh, it's all good, man.
There we go. Slap this on. And I'm like rolling within like a few seconds. So this is pretty cool. I like it a lot. The intro to the Peak Design video was shot with this combo alone. So I really like it. Honestly, I think I can really use this for like a C or a D cam. I might actually use this at a wedding too. I might like place it in front of the aisle so it gets that like shot of the bride walking down. So definitely I'll see if I can test it out like that. But the venue is pretty dark. So because this is a 1-inch sensor, it might struggle a little bit, but we'll see.
Is that you had it turned on already, right? Like when you were actually just moving the gimbal around like that, or was it just off?
Oh no, that was on, so I turned it on. So
okay, got it.
We'll go ahead and turn it on again. So it's really
Nice.
cool. For those of you guys who don't have an RX 100, by the way, you can actually win one from Sony if you submit like an inspirational story, and the link is in the description box below if you want to check that out.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. Jason Vaughn's gonna win an RX 100 Mark.
Yeah, I'm gonna submit my own inspirational story and win another RX 100.
Everyone's gonna hate you at that point. It was just like that story about the guy who entered his own photo contest, but I don't know if we want to dive into that. That was a different story. That was a long time ago.
I think my friend, he wanted us to bring it up about how someone entered. Yeah, that it's weird, right? Like if you hosted your own photo contest, you shouldn't have the right to enter it.
I understood the concept that he wanted to compete with the other competitors in the contest.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if the judges were unbiased, like they didn't know, like he wasn't an actual judge, like he hosted it, but he wasn't the actual main judge, then I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to dive into it because I don't remember the whole story too much. But
all right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, let's jump back into the chat really quick. Let's see here. Pat, what's up, Pat? Pat's a new subscriber. He says, I forgot, does the A6000 have IAF? It does, right? But not continuous IAF, Danny?
Yep, it's single AFF, single shot, I guess.
Have you shot much portrait with the A6000?
No, I have not. I have not shot much portraits at all.
I'm thinking about picking up an A6000 myself. Start making videos with that.
Yeah, dude, definitely. There's a lot of people with it, and they want content. I know they're out there. So I know Steve mentioned this. He hashtagged A7 Mark II. He got an Amazon offer for $500 off the A7 Mark II. He said he returned it after 4 days.
Oh my goodness.
He got 10 autofocus test vids on my channel, and autofocus is nasty on all of them. So
gosh.
Thank you, Steve, for backing up my initial impressions about that autofocusing on that. Thank you.
Steve, I'm sorry to hear, man. But I mean, like, if you're shooting portraits, the A7 II can still, it's fine, right? Or will it have autofocus issues?
It's just slow. I think that's the problem. It's just slow moving. But that's the vibe I got. So,
all right. Phenom, are you able to use the Crane M with the A6500? So I did try testing it. I tried mounting the A6500 with the 10 to 18 on the Crane M. I think without the quick release plate, it should balance without a problem. But because I had a quick release plate on, I wasn't able to get a perfect balance with it. So I'm going to run a few more tests myself, but for sure, without the quick release plate, you can mount an A6500 with a 10 to 18, and it will balance just fine. Pat says, that's a bummer, not continuous, but would still probably get it.
I don't think you really need eye autofocus too much. I mean, but if you're doing portraits, if you're not really doing continuous autofocus, then I think it'll do the job. So, yeah.
Cool. Let's see here. Pat, Jason is your girlfriend mad about your purchase. Which one? This one? I don't think I told her yet. It's on the Instagram story, so maybe she saw it. I don't know. I'm gonna talk to her tonight, so maybe she'll bring it up and chew me out. Wayne Freeman, saw your RX 105 unboxing. Order one last week. I think I hate you guys. Sorry, Wayne.
Snap. Nice.
We're not responsible for uncontrollable gas. We just ignite the gas here. Let's see here. Dave Sincere says, you should be able to get a great deal for the A6000. And JW Studio says, I hate my A6000 for video. Hate. Man, that's some, that is some emphasis right there.
Well, why is that, JW?
Yeah, JW, let us know. What's up with the A6500 video? I think a lot of people brought up to me that the A6500 overheats really quickly in 1080. Just how
it does overheat. It does overheat. I just haven't used it really to that kind of situation. So, but we'll see. It's getting warmer around here soon, so definitely we'll be doing that.
Yeah, it is going to be like 91 in my area this weekend. Right when it's wedding time on Saturday. I have another wedding this Saturday. Tomorrow's wedding, pretty good. We're shooting out in a desert, but at least it's 70 degrees. But the Saturday one, we're shooting by the beach, but it's 91 degrees.
Got it.
Life does not make sense. Let's see here. Dave Sincere, whenever I think about buying something new, I always watch one of Jason Vong's video, and this makes me feel a lot better about going ahead and pulling the trigger on the purchase. Oh man, that's not something to tell your therapist when you have to get your gas counseled.
JW says the Alpha 6000 doesn't have the headphone jack for audio. You can only buy the Sony mic that isn't much better than the onboard mic. I never got to try the actual official onboard mic. I have this here, the XLR K2M. That's surprising, but you know, what's interesting though is that I don't think it actually works on the A6000. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't. Maybe it does. I gotta check. I never tested it.
How does it plug in via the mic jack?
It's like a smart multi-shoe thing. I don't recall the actual name on it.
Smart. Oh, so it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's just right on the hot shoe. So
right. So it does. So there's no wire that actually connects to the mic.
Which is actually really nice. There's no actual additional cables that are hanging off of it. So
in theory, would you be able to run 2 audio sources?
With this,
it's just crazy talk right now.
Well, with this thing is I get access to like the left and the right channel. So I get one input and it's input 2. So I can actually, this microphone, you can change the gain from, you can lower the gain on one channel and increase the gain on another. So if I was recording the concert, I was able to get a low audio level and a higher one just in case it got too hot, the audio. So, or you can do 2 XLRs, whatever you want to do. It's pretty handy.
Awesome possum. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get back to it. So let's talk about how to prep for a gig. So we're gonna talk. So let's see, Danny, should I interview first, or how should we do this? Should we just ask each other questions back and forth, or we just kind of go over our little ritual?
I mean, I'll prep you, man. I'll get you going on this stuff with. So yeah, we are trying something new this time around as far as just going over actual shooting experiences and talking about that. And since Jason's going to be going up and shooting a wedding, I'm sure some of you might be wondering like how he preps for it and gets ready for it. So Jason, help us out here. What is kind of the first step in getting ready for shooting a wedding? And by the way, are you doing hybrid shooting or what's your focus right now?
So tomorrow's wedding, I'll be shooting video. I'll be first shooting. I'm working with a photography team. So we're actually rolling in deep with 4 people. So 2 photographers and 2 videographers.
So 2 photographers, and you're one of the videographers, right?
I'm one of the videographers. First shooting. I'm pretty nervous. I haven't first shot a wedding in 5 months. So a lot of stress.
A lot of stress.
A lot of stress. So going to your question, how we prep. So I was lucky to have a rehearsal that we can actually attend. So the couple had a rehearsal at the venue that they're going to have their wedding at. So I always generally like to scout the location of the venue first, just so I know where everything is. That way, on the day of, I'm not scrambling to try to find their prep room, their hotel room, where the ceremony's at, where the reception is at. We kind of go there, kind of scout the place out. And it was a good thing that I went to the venue too, because had I not, I wouldn't have known how dark it is where they're going to have the ceremony. They're using like really weak ambient light inside. We do have an option to run some LEDs, but I'm not a huge fan of like doing lighting on a ceremony. So I might just use really fast primes to shoot the ceremony. But yeah, definitely I always scout the location. And since I was there for the rehearsal, I was able to get some exterior shots. I flew the drone, got some drone shots of the place. You know, just doing these little bits of things, getting B-roll of the exteriors and all that kind of stuff would just help on the day of. That way you're not actually scrambling for the little things, especially when you don't, especially because it's a wedding, you don't really know what's going to happen. Even though you are on time, you have your crap together, doesn't mean the whole thing will run as smoothly as you think. So it's always good to just cover all the easy stuff first before tackling the actual day of the event.
No, that's some really great advice. I know there was a wedding that I shot video for, and it was last minute. They just kind of asked me last minute if I was able to do it. Video wasn't really their priority, and the venue, I actually didn't really notice that. I saw the venue, and then when I got there, it had like a really nice little kind of pond that had a heart shape around it.
Oh.
And it would have been really nice to have had a drone. Well, I didn't own a drone, and so I was only getting paid so much. So, but if I had actually seen it initially, like early on, besides the overhead pictures from like Google Maps or whatever, I probably would have tried to accommodate for that. But it just wasn't. It wasn't within the budget. But those are just those little things where I was like, man, it would be really nice to have had a drone in this kind of particular situation. But I did not have one at the time. But just those little things.
So would you say were able to actually scout the place out, you would have been more prepared for the drone?
I don't know, because then I would have had to have paid for the drone, and we already agreed on the price, and so it was kind of like, well, there's nothing I can do. You know, I was already. It's like I'm gonna have to spend renting something out or what have you. So everything was already agreed upon early. But I just tried my best to get a capture of the actual venue, even with the gear that I had. But a drone would have been nice at that location.
Yeah, for sure. I think so what I was trying to get at was, you know, being able to be there and kind of like scout the place out. It also helps too, because you want to be able to have spots where your couples can do the romantic shots, you know? So luckily I was there with the photographer. So we were kind of just figuring out placements, like where should we have the bride? Where should we have the groom? You know, then luckily there's this, what do you call a spiral staircase? I guess it's a spiral staircase, but there's like another term for.
I was gonna call it a Penrose, but I think that's from like Inception, the Inception movie.
But yeah, you know, just sort of figuring. So we got there. We went to the spiral staircase. That's what the venue is kind of known for. So we just sort of like try to figure out what's the best placement to have the bride and the groom. You know, how I would use the gimbal to track if they're going down the stairs, up the stairs, or get some nice overview shot from above while they're downstairs. You know, trying to figure all that stuff out. So it's good to have locations in mind and ready, because, you know, you want to figure out a sort of like a waypoint and a map. That way, when you do have the couple, even if it's just 5 minutes, you already know which location to hit up. That way you don't have to spend too much time. The shots you get of the couple can be just as quick as 10 to like 30 seconds.
Man, you guys really plan it out well, man. Like all kinds of craziness.
We usually don't.
I just want.
We're lucky to have a rehearsal. That's why I say if there's a rehearsal, if there's an opportunity for you to go out and check the venue early on, you totally should. I understand it might not be possible most of the time, but if you can, it's always good.
Yeah, I don't really shoot a whole lot of these things at all, so it's not something I come by very often. So that's why I'm not really the person you would want to ask for about wedding stuff. But I know I just talked to someone that's getting married. I'll be shooting their wedding in September.
Ooh. Hey,
I think I think I'm gonna hybrid. I think I'm gonna try hybrid shooting. So we'll see what happens. So I think I'm gonna tackle both photo and video. Although I let her know that I was like,
oh, you better ask David Osler for some advice.
I was letting her know, it's like, well, she likes my work and everything, and she trusts what I'm gonna do. And I was like, well, I just want to make sure that I can do both good, but I would rather just do one really well, like video really well. But let's just go with it. We'll just tackle both photo and video. So.
Danny, good luck, man. Because I'm just like I can only focus on one thing, and I'm already struggling with video. Like bringing photo into the picture, I'm just like my brain's gonna explode, dude.
I get you. No, I totally agree. I got that Sony A9 coming in, so I'll be good, man. 20 frames per second. It'll look like video.
All right. So just to continue the questions on what else I do to prepare for a wedding. So I don't normally do this, but I'm gonna try to start doing this now. But I'm beginning to start charging batteries and backing up SD cards 2 nights, at least two
Oh,
nights
wow.
prior to the event. What was that, Danny?
No, I think that's good, man.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many, like, just speaking from example with sports, that's why I just charge my stuff in my bag as I go because I was too lazy to get them charged the night before.
That's
And
bad,
so,
dude.
yeah, exactly. And so now what you're saying, man, totally makes a lot of sense. So I don't know if anybody's out there is guilty of like not charging their batteries. Hashtag, I mean, if you really want to share something, a funny story about batteries, just do hashtag
Mhm.
battery with a Y, I guess, or yeah, let's just do battery like that. Let us know if you've had like a really funny or bad story, or maybe you went out to go shoot and there was no batteries in your camera. Um, those are really, really bad ones that ever happen.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because in my case, we have a lot of batteries to charge, like the Sony batteries. We carry like almost like 15 batteries for a shoot. So we
Dang.
only have 3 chargers. So, and those plugs, they take up a lot of space. So it's best to get them charged early. As for SD cards, I'm super guilty of this. And this is an advice that I want to put it out there for you guys. I don't back up my SD cards too often. So when a wedding comes up or when an event comes up, I'm like, crap, like which of these cards did I back up and which of these cards I don't back up. So I have to cycle through all my SD cards, have to double check on my other hard drives to see if they're ported in or if they're not. And it's just, it gets pretty like hectic, the night before, especially I don't know. Sometimes for me, like the SD card, the files inside the SD card, they transfer super slow. Like on Windows, you see that like green graph, it's like it's like rock bottom. It's like transferring so slow. So you definitely don't want that happening the night before the wedding. So the less things to worry about, do it all the night before. That way you have a good night rest.
I'm so guilty about that. Even with like sporting events, Jason, I'll go start shooting at a sporting event. And I realize there's stuff on my card still. Like I never took them out. Now, I never run into an issue where I like run out of space. It rarely happens, but it has happened in the past. It does happen once in a while. It's really frustrating because you're like, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know if I actually transferred the files over or they're still on the card. And I roll with I roll with these all the time. The 128 gigabyte card.
Dude, where's mine? I just bought it.
I have one in my A7R2, my Alpha 6500. I never change them out. I know the fact that probably someday it's gonna crap out on me and it's gonna be a really bad day. But I usually just stick with the 120 gigabyte card and just roll with that for the whole time I'm using it. So, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, watch, man. I say all these things right now, but we're still gonna keep making that same mistake.
Can I jump to the comments real quick there?
Let's jump to the comments. Danny, you want to read some? Because
I wanted to jump to the battery ones real quick because Dave Sincere says when he first bought his camera, I had only one battery, and my friend came to Atlanta from NYC. I took her out for drinks 30 miles away. I don't know if he ran out of Oh, I realized I left my battery and SD cards at home. I drove 30 miles home to get it and 30 miles back to get to her. Wow, Dave.
I feel you. You, Dave. There's this one time where I was doing a test video. I drove all the way out to a park. It took me 20 minutes to get there. And I had my tripod all set up, my camera all set up, my Atomos Ninja Flame all set up. I'm ready to roll. And there's no battery inside the camera. So, and the most frustrating thing was I remember clearly putting the battery down on my table right before I left. It's just something that I beat myself up for, but that really does suck, man. I'm sorry, dude.
Like Dave telling me that now I had like a sports like a team portraits to do with another photographer. And I think I forgot my lights. And I think I actually drove like 30 miles back home to pick them up and then drive 30 miles back out just to go ahead and get the lights. So I know those feels, Dave, man. It sucks. Steve says, I have 10 Sony batteries and had the great idea to number them in white out. Up to 45 degrees Celsius here, I guess, in Spain, and the whiteout written on the battery melted while it was inside the camera.
Man, these are horror stories, man. This has never happened to me. Then again, I don't use whiteout on my batteries.
Oh shoot.
I
Oh yeah.
how, do you label your batteries, Danny?
I don't, man. It's a roulette, dude. I swear. I have the OEM, the original batteries. I have
Uh-huh.
Wasabi, and I have Rav Power. It's like a cycling circus, man.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I
that's how I
usually
know.
label my battery. I put my name under the battery where you can't. Where's my camera when I need it?
But you're like working with other people, right? So do you ever end up like swapping batteries and stuff? Does that
Yeah,
happen?
so my buddy and I, I think I'm pretty sure we have like each other's batteries, we have each other's quick release plates. So at this point, it's like we don't know who's who. I have two Zeiss Batis end caps, but I only have one Batis lens, so that's clearly not mine. But yeah, for batteries, I do label them. I want to get better and start labeling my gear as well, just to be safe.
Yeah, I think SnapClick in the comments has the best recommendation out there. Make a
Yeah,
checklist.
make a checklist.
Yeah.
That's something that I did not include in my notes, but yes, make a check. That does help. I remember watching Gary Fong's wedding video. That dude had like an Excel sheet and like literally like which person was responsible for what gear. It's insane. But I guess if you're running that sort of huge operation for your wedding photography business, you got to have something like that.
Yeah. For sure, man.
Cool. Do we have any more battery comments, Danny?
Not that I'm seeing. Oh wait, hold on. Ryan Joseph says there was this one time at a wedding I was shooting one of the guests. A photographer stole my hashtag battery charger.
Oh no. That's horrible, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear.
Oh shoot. Those OEM battery chargers aren't cheap. I don't
No,
think they are.
no, they're not.
The
But
original ones.
luckily, I have not come across a Sony wedding photographer in all my shoots. So that's never happened to me. I did shoot a wedding with a photographer that had the same everyday messenger backpack by Peak Design. So he was always
Yeah.
reaching into my bag.
Oh shoot.
So he was just like, "Oh shoot, that's not my stuff."
Oh, that's gonna suck if we ever do like we work together, man. I got that Peak Design bag too, the same color and everything.
Well, actually, I use the messenger bag for weddings. I don't use the backpack
Oh.
because it's just hard for
Oh.
me to like switch gear. It's just hard for me to be like in a run and gun mode if I have like a backpack because I have to like swing it down, put it down, take out the lens. Whereas the messenger bag, I'm just like I unfold the flap, just grab the lens out, and I'm ready to shoot.
Nope, I would agree, man. That'd be pretty good.
Cool.
We're getting some questions. I don't know if you want to tackle them or not about batteries, though.
Sure.
Pat Adolfo.
I know I was rambling so much
Oh.
earlier, so I'm super lost in the chat right now.
Oh, he retracted his message.
Dave Sincere. Yeah, if you have any questions, Dan, if you find any questions, just throw it at us.
Okay.
Dave Sincere says, I have a Watson dual battery charger. It charges battery really quickly. That's something. Is it Watson or is it RAV Power? Because the RAV Power dual charger is on my list because it charges via USB, and I like USB charging.
I think the Watson one's from B&H Photo. It's like a B&H Photo like brand. I do have some of those batteries from like the LPE6 for the Canon, and they're pretty good. I don't think I've ever had any problems with them. So
Dual charger and USB charger is like life, man.
yeah,
they're amazing. Let's see here. Pat, how many batteries do you bring to cons, Jason? 4. For weddings I overdo it, but for cons I just bring four batteries. I never run out. Oh, pro tip. This is something that everyone knows. When you get to a wedding venue, whatever event you get to, find the outlets and like stick your charger there so the photographers don't steal it. That way you get your batteries charging.
Oh man, that's just scary having to deal with that.
Yeah, it's real, man. Like you have to, first off, you have to find an outlet for yourself, and then the photographers come in. They have to find one, and then you're just like constant. I don't think photographers need to charge their batteries too much, but you know, us, we're throwing it everywhere on every outlet that we can find. So it's always good.
I mean, are you doing that because Because you know how you have like the reception, not the reception, but the ceremony itself, and you sort of designate certain cameras that just kind of lock down, they kind of stay in a certain spot. Do you kind of you set up like that too, right, Jason? Like you have.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time? What did you say?
Oh, it's because the way whenever I do like events, well, I'm not shooting like weddings, but like recording an event where the camera stays stationary. I just plug an external battery pack
Okay, gotcha.
right into the camera. So I tape the battery pack to the actual tripod and I plug it in and I just let it go. I let it do its thing, and I usually never have to worry about the battery life draining. But I'm guessing since you're kind of moving around recording B shots and then everything else.
Yeah, that's actually a really good thing you brought up because I might actually end up doing that tomorrow. Because what I'm gonna do is I only have one external battery, but I'm gonna leave it to power the wide camera at least. So at least I don't have to worry about the power of the wide camera. But you're right, I am on the go for the most part, so I don't have an external battery attached to my camera. But it is good. It is good advice though for camera.
And while I still remember this, Jason, make sure you activate that extended temperature.
I'm gonna do it later. I can't find my cam. I don't even know where I put my gear. They're all but a few of these. They're all packed already. So
yeah, man, don't forget to do the extended temperature thing, man.
I'm pretty sure it's turned on from the last time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Should I just finish up a few of my notes?
Yeah, go for it, man.
All right. Let's see here. Goes without saying, bring snacks, bring water. There's like a lot of times where I'm shooting weddings and maybe like only 20% of the time I actually get to eat on time. We hardly get to eat on time for weddings just because of how things, just because, you know, things never run on schedule, especially at weddings. But also maybe you know, when your dinner time is scheduled, there may be a perfect golden hour that you want to get with the couple, and you have to sacrifice your dinner just to get that shot, you know? I mean, you don't have to, but we always want to make sure our wedding films look amazing. So we would be glad to sacrifice some of our dinner time to go shoot with the couple. So you just never know. You just never know what's going to happen. So always pack, snack, and eat throughout the day. And if there is some downtime, just try to like grab some snacks. Let's see, what else is there? Yeah, I'll just finish off a few more notes. This is something that I'm beginning to do a lot more myself, is that I kind of go back to the weddings that we edit, the weddings that we shot, and just kind of watch it over again, just to kind of remind ourselves, oh, we did really good here. We want to recreate something like this again for this next wedding. Or maybe, oh, we totally made a mistake here. We should have set up another camera. We should have set the light here or whatever, you know, kind of learn from the mistakes that we make from the previous wedding and make sure we kind of don't make it again for the wedding that is coming up. So that's a huge thing for us. So kind of just like watch over some of the weddings that we did recently and make sure we don't repeat the same mistake and keep doing the awesome things we've been already doing.
Right. And no, good stuff, man. Not gonna lie, I always, like, if I had shot something, I was gonna shoot something, I always watch the previous video just to kind of reflect a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. I could improve. You're shooting those vlogs too, and you kind of remind yourself.
Yeah, any type of work, man. I always try to see, okay, what can I improve on? What can I change? You know, any type of situation. No.
Let's see. Not only do I watch my own films, but I like to watch other people's wedding films just to sort of get inspired, get in the mood, get into that happiness. Because sometimes when you watch your own wedding, you kind of remember all the bad stuff you did, so you're more focused on that. But if you watch other people's wedding films, and if they do a really good job, you're kind of like, oh man, it's a pretty awesome film, you know? No joke. There's some wedding films that I watched that I start tearing up because it was legit good. So sort of like I sort of use that as an inspiration. Like, this is the detail that I want to get. This is the moment that I want to capture, so I can include it in the wedding film that I'll be working on. So aside from that, the super most important thing is always go over the itinerary just multiple times. Even though they have stuff already written out and planned, it's good to kind of make your own itinerary as well, like the time and the event that's happening and what you're planning to do. So your own itinerary should be for your team, what you guys are going to do, what you guys are going to get. Even though on the couple's wedding itinerary, they, you know, it's more for them, but it's not doesn't have anything for you. So maybe at some point where they're on a break or they're traveling to the venue, you can schedule something a little early, like you'll travel to the venue, but you will go get some, B-roll shots or something, exterior shots or detail shots of the ceremony. So just kind of like make little notes for yourself, for you and your second shooter or your team.
All right.
Cool.
Lots of really good advice.
I'm surprised I actually got all that out. I was like, oh,
there was
all over the
and
place.
there was like this, I think a concept was that I've heard before where they say under say but over deliver. I don't know the actual like
yeah. Like under promise but over deliver.
Yeah, there you go. Under promise over deliver. I know, for example, like the other wedding I had shot. I think I had planned for like a 5-minute trailer, but I gave them like a 15-minute trailer at the end of it because I had plenty of stuff to work with.
Well, Danny, that's too much, man. You're making us look bad.
Well, then again, it was really late when I delivered it because I mean, yeah. So I was like, I got time. I'll do something nice. So, it's hard, man. Do you ever feel like you just got to get into this mode when you're just editing the wedding film? Like you're just like, you're not feeling it that moment, and you're just like, you just go at it.
Yeah, like only all the time, dude. I think for me, once for when I know I'm maybe we should save this for next week on editing wedding films, but I like to have everything kind of pre-cut already for all the workable footage, and then I kind of like time the edit, not really time the edit, but like build from the peak of the song, start working the edit on the peak of the song and then kind of work your way backwards. That definitely makes the wedding edit a lot easier for me.
I need to know this from because since you work with different people and you're going to be kind of the main, I guess, for this.
Yeah.
Is it really hard to go to somebody else's footage when you already know in your mind what you recorded, but you're kind of like they got their footage, you got your footage, and then you kind of want to see what they got, and you're hoping that they kind of got what you're looking for, or I don't know if you ever have that kind of mental kind of like thing going on.
I think so, and I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but maybe because if you are the one editing the film and you shot and you edit the film, you kind of are a little bit more biased to your own footage. Because then again, it's a lot easier because it's still kind of fresh in your head, like what you shot. So you tend to lean more of that. Not only is it like more time, it saves you time because you don't have to look at someone else's footage, but you already know what you got and you know what to work in. I think, yeah, for how I edit is I would always, for me at least, I would always prioritize the first shooter shots. Only because they're in charge of getting the creative shots and the really pretty detailed stuff. Second shooter is just kind of like backup. So I use those clips as backup in case the first shooter didn't get. If that makes any sense.
No, perfectly.
Whoops. All right. Should we jump into the chat?
Yeah. I think we should kind of give them a heads up as we're jumping into the Q&A section.
Man, we didn't even ask you how you prefer.
I mean, yeah, for sure, man. Let's just jump to the chat, and then you can ask me a few things.
No, okay, all right, for sure. Danny, help me out, man. Just throw out some comments.
I'm just trying to find some structure.
I was worried earlier because I was like, oh man, it's 7:20. I hope we have enough fluff to get the hour by. Now it's like 7:50. I was like, holy crap. Dave Sincere, how will you guys deliver the footage and how long after the wedding will you deliver? Okay, so Dave, this specific wedding, the couple was asking the delivery to be in 3 weeks. I have to deliver a 3 to 5 minute highlight and as well as a 30-minute documentary edit.
Oh, shoot.
What I did for the last wedding is I kind of tested myself. I locked myself up in my room for 4 days and edit and deliver that wedding film. So I'm pretty sure 3 weeks is more than plenty. So I'll get it done by next week. Actually, I don't want to make that promise. Maybe the end of next week.
Yeah, just I think I'm like around a month, like 3 to 4 weeks if I do something like that in terms of turnaround time.
Mm-hmm. Dale, have you been affected by the A6500 IBIS issue? Are you talking about the Dave Dugdale thing where his camera just sort of like jumps when it tries to stabilize, I guess? No, I personally never had that issue.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, what Dave was guessing was how the A6500 was shipped to him, and it was from B&H. They didn't put any padding on it or something, and it kind of just like got knocked around during the delivery. So it might have been the issue. We don't know. But if your camera gear comes in without any sort of bubble wrapping in your box, it's best that you return it. Mr. Photography, agreed. Wasabi batteries are fine for this A6500. They will drain over time when not used, but when freshly charged, or maybe within the first couple of weeks, they should last long or longer than factory Sony battery. So just really quick thing about the Wasabi battery. I have had the Wasabi battery lie to me about the actual percentage it has. I was shooting a speech. This is last year. I was shooting a speech at a reception, and my Wasabi battery was clearly telling me I had 20% battery left. That wasn't the case because right when I saw that, like 2 seconds later, my camera shut off. It says battery exhausted. So in my opinion, try to get the OEM batteries. And what I would do is for all the important stuff like the ceremony and the reception, I would strictly use OEM batteries. But for, prep stuff, things that, I can actually take the time and reshoot, I would use the Wasabi battery. So anything that happens once in a lifetime, stick with the OEM batteries. Anything that is, it's easily can be redo, then use the Wasabi batteries, if that makes any sense.
Nope, that's exactly the point I echoed. Jason goes for the originals. I play with fire, and I'm not doing that. He gives a really good reason and a really good explanation. So if you're really in those high critical scenarios and you want to make sure it's consistent, get the originals. But for most of the stuff that I do, I've been happy with the Wasabi and even the Rav Power. So, yeah,
I mean, in that mixture of those 15 batteries, I'm pretty sure half of them are Wasabi batteries. So, Dave Sincere, this is your first time shooting with this team? No, I've been shooting with this photographer this is like my 4th or 5th wedding from him. So usually I get my gigs from this photographer. He's super cool. So we try not to get in each other's way, but even if we do, it's not the end of the world. So we get along really well. Dave Sincere, I saw a YouTube video recommending a fanny pack. You guys are a little young, so you may not know what those are. I have fanny pack. I would wear a fanny pack. Peak Design sells a fanny pack.
Oh, what the heck?
They call it a pouch. It's pretty good. I like the Sony batteries because they're small, so I just like pocket them. It's pretty much it. Pat says, from what I've heard, you can save a ton of battery life on your Sony if you use manual lenses. I think, yeah, someone tested that out. And because you're using manual lenses, the camera's not constantly autofocusing and constantly trying to stabilize itself. So it does save a lot of battery because it's less work for the camera to do.
I don't know. It really just depends on how you shoot. That's the way I would have put the perspective on batteries, since we're talking about that topic a lot today. Mm-hmm. Like I said, if I know it's going to be locked down, I recommend an external battery pack. That's my recommendation. Plug in an actual external battery pack if the camera's going to stay locked down. If you do a lot of like handheld work and you move around a lot, I think, in my opinion, if I was going to handle it, I would put a battery grip on the actual A6000 camera. If I know I'm moving around a lot and I don't want to deal with some of the battery problems, I would do that. But you have to try it out. There's just a lot of challenges, Jason. Okay. That's the way I looked at it. That
we'll tackle a few more questions, and then we're gonna jump into how Danny preps his shooting ritual, because I think that's important, and we definitely want to get to it as well. And then we'll hit up the Q&A. So Rayhan says, I've never shot a wedding film before, but I recently delivered my first same-day 4x6 album. And I lost the comment. Man, what the heck? Okay, yeah. It was a hit. Stressful, but a hit. That's always a good feeling when you're like stressing out about an edit or maybe the delivery, and then you hear that the couple loves it. It's just like a relief.
You did a same day album? What the?
I don't know how you do it, but that's
Oh, dude, even with the 1 day edits, the same day edits for the video.
Mhm.
Shoot, man. Rayhan, what did you end up printing it with? Did you have like DSP printers or like what? Did you have somebody else printing the stuff out while it was going? I'm just wondering. I'm just curious.
All right, so Danny, it's your spotlight now. So for sports, okay, and this is what I do for concert photography is that I always like search up the artists and see their placement, see what kind of photos have been taken them already. Do you do something very similar? Do you like look up some swim photos? Do you look up some tennis photos just to kind of get yourself in the mindset as to like what kind of action to be looking for these types of events?
Since sometimes I'll shoot some stuff for the yearbook and like I'll get content for that, I
Mm-hmm.
usually will pull up like a roster initially just so that I know if I'm getting I'm getting different athletes because you want to try and feature as many people in the yearbooks, right? So since I shoot a lot of high school stuff, right? And so I keep a mental, again, it's very different from what other people would do, right? So, but I keep a mental note of like who I've taken pictures of. I'm like, okay, we've been shooting a lot like of this person. It's time to go on to another person. So that's kind of how I handle it. I may look at some photos, typically if I'm looking for a certain inspiration for a type of image, but I kind of know what I'm looking for already, and I'm just kind of waiting for that action to happen. So that's kind of how I mentally sort of prep for some sort of sports. It's like make sure I know who I'm trying to shoot, and well, but high school sports usually go out to their games a few times out of the whole year, so you see them play a number of times.
That's
So you kind of
very interesting.
You get practice.
I never even thought of that. Like you have to make sure you give the player, each player, attention.
Yeah, I mean, because it's always it's always gonna fall on like your star player and then everything else. But you got to remember everybody else that's on the field, defense. Everyone's always focusing on offense.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't forget about everybody else. And as far as like the yearbook's concerned, it's a product, you sell it, and you want to get featured. You want to try and feature as many people in the book itself. So I just keep that as a cognizant and make sure the students who are taking pictures out there too are also trying to capture everybody else too.
So what does your night before kind of look like? Like how do you go to select your lenses, select the type of gears that you'll be bringing for the shoot?
First of all, I just make sure I know what I'm shooting, and I just make sure I have the proper gear. And since I was shooting a lot of Canon prior, anytime I had any type of outdoor sports, I always had the 120 to 300 f2.8. That was just the go-to lens. I shot with the 5D Mark III at the time, or even the Mark IV, or the 1DX or the 1DC, and that was my go-to kind of setup with the sports shooting, and it worked excellent all the time. Never had to worry. Things got done with that stuff. But I like to have. Now that you mentioned that, as far as lenses, I'll always bring an ultra wide because it gives a different look.
Okay.
A medium telephoto, and then a zoom lens, an actual zoom lens. Like even in basketball, for example, if I'm shooting basketball, people will probably bring like an 85. I love using an 85 on my full frame, or even a 70 to 200, but a 300 millimeter f2.8 just gives you a completely different look, even in the confined space that I shoot with in basketball. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think about the looks that I want, and I go out there and I try to get several different looks instead of the same type of image. Because if you use the same exact lens multiple times, it's going to look exactly the same. You're going to get very similar results. And so I just try to diversify the shots.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
And in terms and besides gear, I mean, what else do you pack with you for before a shoot? And how long is typically a sporting event?
As far as high school games, they could go from, I don't know, like, it depends on it. But like, let's say, for example, just basketball in general, you have to shoot frosh, JV, varsity. That's going to go for like 4 hours, maybe 5. And so I'll be out there for like 4 or 5 hours just shooting. And that's the reason why I just started testing stuff, because maybe I already got all the photos I needed and I have time to test something different. And so that's why I got into this mindset of just testing gear out, sharing my reviews, sharing my suggestions and opinions about a product, because it's just like, I'm just there, I'm literally there, and let's make use of my time while I'm out there. So but that's about it. That's like the main things, man. I just leave my classroom, I head out to wherever I'm supposed to go. I shoot and I'm done for the evening. So sometimes I leave early, it just depends. So.
Mm-hmm. And that's how that one camera guy started. He was bored at a sporting event and he decided to shoot more photos and tests and share that result.
I wonder if I ever shared the story, but the reason why that one camera guy that even started was because someone did not have a review of the Sigma 120 to 300 lens.
Uh-huh.
And so I ended up just buying it. And then I was like, you know what? I'll make a review out of it. And that's where it started. That
Wow.
was kind of like the main.
That's very
main
interesting.
starting point.
That's kind of how I started too, because I was like searching for the Sony camera, and there's a bunch of reviews on the A7S II, but never on the A7R II. So I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna start making videos on the Sony.
Yeah, it was just about giving my perspective, like a different perspective that somebody wasn't probably doing. And I said, you know what? I think I can do a slightly better job, or I can give a different view. And that's all I'm trying to deliver at the end of the day.
Very cool. Is there anything else you want to share with your ritual? Anything that's very particular to you?
You know, that's about it. I think honestly, as far as shooting, I just try to change it up, and I think a lot of people were. It gets kind of boring over time, you know, if you're shooting the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over, and switching it up to Sony really made it fun. And here's the reason why. I get a lot of flack. People are always saying, "Oh, you're Sony fanboy. You like Sony, go to not Canon or Nikon." Here's the thing. I really loved the Canon stuff. The photos shot really well. I loved it. It did a great job. But here's the thing. With the Sony cameras, I was able to start doing slow motion stuff, video. I never considered shooting video with my Canon cameras because either it didn't focus fast enough or the quality wasn't good or I didn't have slow motion. But ever since I started doing slow motion, I started to embed that into what I did. And I just love that ability. And then being able to look at the viewfinder to record. But everyone keeps saying, oh, this and that, there's negatives. Absolutely, there's negatives here and there. But I outweigh all those negatives with the positives that I've received out of the Sony equipment. And that's what I have to say about the Sony gear. So there's my plug for Sony today.
There you go. It's very rare that that one camera guy says that's about Sony. So there you go. Yeah. That one right there. Cool. Danny, thanks for sharing, man. Let's go ahead and jump into the chat. And we're just about coming to an end to our show. So start queuing up your questions. Use the hashtag QA. And me and Dat one camera guy. I was going to say Dan one camera guy. Let us know. Let us know your questions while we work through some of the comments. Some of the questions that people have been rolling in while we were telling how to prep for a gig. So Dave says or ask, do you guys tend to overbring gear? I tend to bring everything with me: reflectors, soft boxes, and 2 light stands. So Dave, that's actually a really good thing. This is something that I omitted from the show, but I do have it on my notes. Is that I like to tell myself to pack light. That way I'm not too overwhelmed with the amount of gears that I have. Because 1, it's a liability. 2, it's just like you're struggling. You're like, oh man, like which one should I use now? So having limited gear can also force some creativity out of you. But bring what you need. You know, bring the wide, bring the mid telephoto and the telephoto lens. Just make sure you have the 3 main things, or the main things. Have all the main things that you know you can get the job done with, and then start thinking about the extras. Danny?
Yes, I do overpack when I wasn't sure what I was doing. And what I mean by that is when I was first doing the YouTube stuff, I would always just bring so many more things than I really needed because I was testing stuff out for the YouTube channel. And so I would bring my Canon backpack and also my Sony stuff. It was just a mess. Yeah. So I started just to try and just focus on one thing and just focus on that central item and just focus on reviewing and testing that one thing. So that really helped a lot.
Yeah, so just to go really quickly through my thought process for tomorrow's wedding, like originally I was going to bring 2 cameras for prep, have one 6500 set up for macro shots of my A7R II just to focus on getting the bride and the prep and all that stuff. But then I was just like, do I really need to bring 2 cameras? Do I really want to weigh myself down? I mean, of course I'm going to have multiple cameras, but not multiple cameras on my messenger bag. So what's going to happen is I'm only going to be shooting with 1 camera for prep, just strictly 55 with the A7R II. And then for the macro stuff, and the beauty of the A7R II is that I can shoot 4K in Super 35 mode. So I can turn that into my macro camera, just swap it out into the macro tripod and just get the macro stuff. So try to lessen your gear load if you can. That way you can just focus on being more quick on your feet. Let's see here. Dave says, in your last video, Danny, it shows you bumped into a guy with a 6300 and the 18 to 105. Was he your second shooter? Yeah, was he?
He was a student of mine.
Oh, nice.
He graduated the year before, and he saw a lot of my YouTube stuff, and he was like, so he ended up getting a Sony camera. So I guess that was the reason why there was another Sony shooter out there. By the way, at the swim meet, there was a lot of Nikon D750s, a few Rebels, and some Canon cameras. But Nikon was well represented out there that day.
Nikon.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like working on way back.
I hear someone's talking about Fedora Nation. I don't know if I should drink that.
Oh, no. Let's just leave Fedora Nation alone. Fedora Nation's going to come have our neck.
Man, I'll do it, man. I'll take all the heat.
La 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 la. When you go out with all these gears, do you pack heat? All US people have guns, right? Oh, what?
We just bring the 7200s, the long telephoto lenses, man. That's how we roll.
Hey, Steve. Shoot cameras, not guns. that would just be me, corny. Okay, Pat asked, what do you guys do outside of photo and video? Oh, wait a minute. Also, what's the longest break from photo and video you had so far? I'm on break since October, November. Well, let's answer. No, you know what? Let's just go ahead and jump into the Q&A. Let's just consider that our first Q&A questions. Danny, what do you do outside of photo and video?
What do I do?
Nothing.
What do you guys do? That's all I do, man.
We don't do anything else. Camera and photos are life.
You know, I feel like if I keep pushing the direction I'm going to, this passion that I have, it'll open doors to other things I can do. Maybe travel, maybe get to meet people like you guys out there. That's just kind of the passion I have. I'm busy at work already, and then the YouTube stuff that I do on top of this just adds to that. And it's draining, but it's something that I enjoy. It's something that I enjoy. And I think there was one more question. The longest break I've taken, it was that 2-month. It was that 2-month stall I had with doing YouTube videos, which was a real problem. I stopped for 2 months. I was just trying to take care of some stuff on the side that I needed to like figure out. I was trying to tackle some issues and stuff, but I got that all squared away. And then Jason Bong got me motivated to start making videos again. So I got to thank Jason Bong for that, because I would have stopped. I would have just kept doing the live shows. I would never have started making videos again. So thanks, Jason Bong, for that.
I was on Danny's case, man. I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, man.
No, it's funny because like it's because you were making like daily content. I was just like freaking out. I was like, oh man, this one camera guy is making me look bad. Everyday content. I gotta step up my game.
No, I just hit a wall somewhere, and I just stopped, man. And it just took a couple months to just deal with it. And yeah, and then you just were mentioning stuff, doing videos again, and I just went for it, man.
It's cool. Let's see here. Rayhan, that one camera guy. Do you teach photography at school you work at? Q&A.
Yes. Well, it's sort of like yearbook / photography / design. So it's a little bit of both. A little bit of the
I also haven't plugged this in a while, but if you guys are in the chat right now, please give us a thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. We're moving on to the Q&A right now, just in case you didn't know. So please do the hashtag QA, and we'll get to your questions.
Yeah, just to follow up on that. Yeah, so I work with students with teaching them photography. So a lot of it's just basics and everything like that. And so I feel like I'm really good with helping people just get the manual basics down on the camera. So if you ever needed help with that, like if we ever did like a one-on-one, I could probably get you going in manual control in about like 30 minutes to 40 minutes. Yeah, cool. There we go.
Okay, I'm sorry if I butcher your name, but Charlie Dino Photography. This is my first photography webinar. I was gonna say webinar. This is my first photography webinar, and I've been enjoying so far. Thanks, guys. Well, thank you so much. Let's see. Simon PR, question QA, ND or not? I think I answered this question in my last FAQ video. It's recommended that you use an ND filter. Chris asked, to cage or not to cage? That is the question. Here's my take on it. I like the cage. I like using the cage to shoot my YouTube videos. But for weddings, for things that happen like super fast, I kind of want to be on my feet, so I don't want to be using a cage for weddings. But for things for like actual like maybe commercial productions or stuff that's not like once in a lifetime, I would definitely use a cage. Danny?
Yeah, it really depends. Like in the last few weeks for the stuff that I've been doing, I haven't been using a cage because it doesn't make a lot of sense for what I'm doing at that moment. But like what Jason said, for me, it has specific case uses where I'll use a cage if I'm filming something YouTube-wise. Maybe I need to attach stuff onto it, but it's not as predominant right now. And like I said, I've been kind of changing up my way of shooting lately with the vlogging and recording. So it really just depends on.
Cool. Snap click. QA, do you guys use pre-AF? Does it kill battery? Danny, do you know what pre-AF is?
The camera is constantly autofocusing.
Oh, okay.
Pointed at, and yeah,
I never touched that feature.
I just turn it off because I know for sure it's going to cause it to run the battery faster. I would assume. I don't know for sure scientifically, but I'm gonna guess it will because you're driving the lens constantly. So I usually just turn it off. I might turn it on for certain case uses.
So for me, pre-AF is off. I think it's off by default, right? Or is it on by default? I don't know, but it's off. Yeah, I don't need it to constantly focus in photo mode, but for video mode, I do. And I think regardless if the pre-AF is on or off or not, the camera in movie mode will always constantly seek focus. So that's what I would use it for.
Dave Sincere said, "Did all those Nikon shooters chase you?"
I was just going to read it out loud.
It was weird, man. I was like, I don't know if you ever go out to shoot and you see other cameras, you kind of look at what they have, like you want to inspect. Yeah. And then I was like D750s, but they didn't have like professional, like they didn't have like the 70-200s. They had like a 18-135 type of lens or something like that. So I'm assuming they got it on like at Costco or something like that, or a Best Buy.
The Costco bundle. Get the 2-kit lens for the price of one. And an SD card and a camera pouch. Carl Ryan.
I will. By the way, like I said with the teaser, I will be testing out the dark side very, very soon. So, Dave Sincere,
you're viewing too much. Carl Ryan, thank you for using the classic Nikon pronunciation.
Nikon or Nikon?
It's Nikon, Japanese. Nikon. I don't know. I don't want to start crap today. Dang it, dude. I'm like always losing.
I remember, now that you were saying like you don't want to start something, I remember, I don't know if those of you that are on the chat, but remember the YouTuber Greg Cazillo? He worked with Frono's Photo at one point. And I think there was a time when he did a video where he specifically said to the camera, a 50 is not a portrait lens. And I think it like causes huge kind of like debate with all these people in the comment section about what an actual portrait lens is. I don't know. I just remember it. It was just really iconic when Craig had said a 50 is not a portrait lens, and people were just like, "No, you're wrong," etc. But
a portrait lens, whatever you think it to be, man. You don't. All right, let's quickly move on. Dave Sincere. QA, how long does it take for you guys to make an average YouTube video? Oh man, forever.
Oh shoot. Should I go first, I guess, or I'll just say something real quick. I think I don't know if we mentioned it before, but when I'm making a video for doing like a shoot, I might be out there for a long day, maybe like 4, 5, 6 hours. After I do that shoot, I have to take all the footage, break down the files, might be another hour or two, and then actually put the video together, which might be another 1 or 2 hours. So 5 + 2 like 9 to 10 hours. Depends on a really those specific videos. Jason?
I'm horrible at keeping track, but it usually takes me an average of 2 to 3 days to get out a video from start to finish. But sometimes the peak design video took me 2 months of prep. Not prep, but like more like I wrote it for like so long, but I was just trying to find time to shoot it, but things just started getting in my way. That's me. But things happen, and NAB happened that slowed me down even more. So that video from actually shooting it and getting out also took another week, just because I just wasn't really satisfied with a few things, and I wanted to wait for like the perfect moment to go out and get some B-roll shots. But the day that I actually went to go get B-roll, it was windy as heck. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a stickler for like waiting for the perfect moment, so that's why it takes me a little while to get my videos out. Pat QA Anime Expo 17 hype. I'm only gonna go for one day. I have a wedding to shoot, so one day of Anime Expo for me. I actually was gonna go to E3, Danny.
Oh, really? But I thought you usually have to have like a press pass, don't you, for E3?
No, I don't. I don't work for the Japanese site anymore, so I don't get none. Get no free pass no mo. Jarrell QA, what is your favorite thing to shoot? Danny, just so I have more time.
You know what? I actually like portraits. Even though I shoot a lot of sports, I actually do enjoy the challenge of doing portrait photos.
Me, I like shooting concert photos. So that's sort I don't and the reason why it's my favorite is because I don't often get the gigs, but when I do, it's like a real treat. So yeah, that would be my favorite thing. Dave Sincere, do any of you use light meters? I'm thinking about investing in one. I unfortunately don't use a light meter. Danny, I don't have any use for one.
I've only used it a couple times. I know the other photographer I work with uses a light meter, but I just tend to not use a light meter. Let's go moving on.
Evan, for someone who already has an 85, which one would you pick? A 28 millimeter, a 35 millimeter, or a 55? I think 55 would be out of, just gonna be out of your list, because the 55 and 85 is just way too similar. So my pick would be either the 35 or the 28.
I'd say 35.
35?
I'm guessing they're using a full frame camera because of that lens choice. I would say 35.
35, cool. Rayhan, QA. God dang it. This thing just goes away.
He says, can I mount the Alpha 6500 in portrait orientation with the cage? I'm asking because I do Instagram stories and films. So can you mount the cage? I don't have the cage with me, but are you able to mount it in portrait mode?
You know what? I think you can, man, because like there's a screw here. Wait, I'm pointing at the wrong camera.
So there could be a way. Maybe someone in the comments are able in the chat could help, but
you can probably rig this. But I think I was watching one of Peter McKinnon's video, and he invited a guy who does like a really cool Instagram stories, and I think he uses like an L bracket or something to rig it the way he can shoot YouTube videos. I mean, sorry, Instagram videos. So look up Peter McKinnon. It's one of his. The video is called "How to Crush It on Instagram Stories," and he has a rig for that. Let's see here. Hashtag. It's just hashtag variable or fixed ND. I use variable ND filters. That's my choice.
Yeah, I would do too if I was doing video variable.
Charlie Dino Photography asks, that one camera guy, when you're doing your videos, what you use to get the signal from your Sony? I'm planning maybe next year to do some reviews in Spanish. I
use the Atomos Ninja 2. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Jason?
It's the Ninja 2, yeah.
Yeah, I use the Atomos Ninja 2 to get a signal from the camera.
Cool.
Yep.
Did you get contacted by someone who's asking if they can repost your video in like Chinese subtitles?
No. Have you?
Yeah, I got someone who's asking me. I'm like, I'm not sure if I should say yes or no.
They want to repost your videos, or do they want to make captions for you?
They want to repost my video on some Chinese website with Chinese subtitles.
Oh, forget that, man. What the heck?
That sounds pretty cool. I want to get known in Asia. All right,
it's your call, man. It's your call. Let me know what happens.
They're gonna end up making more money than me, and I never get like what is it revenue from it.
There's a billion people out there, so
I'm like well known in China, but I won't be making any money from it. Crazy Koala. Okay, Mr. Pronunciation, is it GIF or GIF? I say
I
GIF.
thought it was Jif, like the peanut butter, right?
That's a fun question. Streets of Vancouver, QA, most amusing photo gig story / encounter to date. Oh man, we're gonna have to dig deep for this one.
Amusing.
That Danny is taller than me in real life.
We're not really related for everyone that thinks that.
Yeah, why do people think that? You guys brothers, cousins?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to answer that another time. Streets of Vancouver. We're gonna try to tackle few more questions before we call it a night.
Yep.
Let's see here. Chris Cheek, QA, new cam Sony in June? Possibly. We're gonna wait.
There's always new cameras, man. I can't. It never ends.
Okay, I'm so sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Sihan, how do you guys keep yourself concentrated while editing? I'm always going away while I should edit. Yeah, go ahead, Danny.
I just kind of find the inspiration for it, and I try to find something that motivates me to try and, for example, when I shot the vlog for May 13th, I almost didn't do it. I kind of stalled, but I was like, you know what? I got it. I got my brain thinking. I got a lot of creative mental power right now in my brain. I said, I'm just gonna go get it done. And sometimes I walk away from the computer. I know what that feeling is like. You'll work a little bit, then walk away, and then come back and finish the rest. Like I did that. Like I'll spend maybe a couple hours, walk away, come back, finish the rest. So
for me, like what Danny said, the creative juices is flowing. Don't stop. Try not to break it. Just keep going until you burn yourself out. Otherwise, it's going to be so hard to get it back up. For me personally, since I know how lazy I am, I would do little bits and pieces every day. Like for a wedding edit, I would do maybe like one day, I'll just focus on speeches, get the speeches done one day. The next day I move on to ceremony, get the ceremony done, move on to the next day. Just kind of work bits and pieces. And then that way I don't drain myself out the entire day. So bits and pieces.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, I think when I approached the wedding I shot the other time, like when I had the ceremony, I took care of the ceremony. Like I did the multicam stuff one day, and then I tackled something else a different day. Like you just kind of split up the work. No, that's really good.
Yeah, but that works for wedding. But for like Danny, he's shooting his vlogs. When I try to shoot a vlog and I try to edit by the end of the day, I'm just like, forget it, man. How does Danny do it?
I just wait. There's some of them are behind, man. Like they're like, I'll make a vlog like 3 weeks later, like 2 weeks later. So
oh my goodness, man, because I'm just
Locke is just terrible. His is like 2 months. I don't know if you've ever seen Locke. It's like 2 months later he has a vlog, but
just
cool.
Really quickly, do you find vlogs appealing to watch, knowing that they are months after, Danny?
I don't know. I don't mind Locke because I like Locke. You know, he's really cool YouTuber.
Yeah,
digital rev and everything, so I don't mind.
I'm gonna be honest. It's a little hard for me to like try to sit down and watch Locke's vlog. I mean, I would get through them eventually, but it's just like, you know, just because I know it didn't happen right away, I kind of just pace myself for his vlogs. So they're like usually 20 minutes long, right?
Yeah, they're kind of lengthy, I think.
All right, yeah. Chris S, thumbs up or thumbs down? FE 85 1.8, thumbs up.
Thumbs up on that one.
Wait, do you use FC Final Cut? I'm not even gonna try. Final Cut 10. No, we don't. I use Premiere Pro.
Yeah. I use Premiere. Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Oh shoot. Last question. Okay. SnapClick. Hashtag QA. I just edited my first video. Do you guys have any tutorial videos on editing? I'm thinking about putting out some. I have this idea where I want to put together a video on how to edit crappy footage and just kind of show you guys my thought process on like how to cover up dumb shooting mistakes with editing. But that, yeah, I don't know when I'll get that one out. Maybe in June, just because I'm really busy this month with wedding. Danny, do you have any editing videos coming up?
Nothing around the horizon. I mean, I feel like there's people out there that do a much better job. I mean, I could still do something that I'm good at, maybe how I edit, but other than that, no, not right now.
Not from Danny, maybe from me. We'll see. I'm gonna work some things out.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. I think I got through all the questions. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed today's live chat. Let us know in the comments if you guys did. And Danny, is there any parting words you want to leave to our lovely viewers out there?
Nothing else. I just, again, thank you everybody that's on the live stream. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you haven't done so already to help support and get some visibility, as well as the fact that we'll figure out what happens next week as far as the Monday live show.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. But Vivian's brother, my girlfriend's brother, he's graduating. It's a pretty big deal. So I'm not gonna be there just to chill. I'll be bringing my A7R2, my 7200, gonna channel some inner Danny and shoot some high school kids. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you. Danny, we'll see you next week, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.
See you guys later. Bye.